Billionaire yells at Waitress. She says one sentence that freezes the entire restaurant. It was a crisp Thursday afternoon in downtown Chicago. The elegant French bistro L'Etoile was packed with suited executives and well-dressed elite, enjoying their lunch. Amidst the chatter and clinking silverware, the atmosphere carried a buzz of luxury and entitlement. In the corner booth sat Vincent Harlan, a billionaire tech mogul, infamous for his explosive temper and lack of patience. He tapped aggressively on his phone with one hand and waved the other impatiently toward the nearest waitress. "Excuse me?" he barked. "Are you ever going to bring my wine? Or do you need a reminder on how restaurants work?" All eyes turned. The chatter died down. The waitress in question, a petite young woman in her mid-20s with her hair tied back and a simple name tag reading Lena, calmly approached his table, holding a wine bottle and glass. "I was just about to serve it, sir," she said evenly, her voice steady. "Well, maybe if you spent less time flirting with the busboy and more time doing your job, you wouldn't be this slow," Vincent snapped. "You think just smiling at people makes up for incompetence." A hush fell over the restaurant. Forks froze mid-air. Even the pianist at the front stopped playing. Lena took a breath, then, with perfect calm, she set the wine on the table and said one sentence. "You yelled at me just like you used to yell at your mother, right before she left and never came back." The air went ice cold. Vincent's jaw clenched. His face turned pale. His phone slid from his hand onto the table with a soft clack. Everyone was silent, stunned, watching. Lena stood firm, her expression unreadable. "You Vincent?" began, voice low and shaken. "How do you know that?" Lena slowly pulled a tiny pendant from under her apron, a sapphire locket. "Because she was my mother too." Gasps echoed around the room. Vincent stared, utterly speechless. For a man who had built empires and fired CEOs in boardrooms with a single word, he suddenly looked like a child. "I didn't come here to confront you," Lena said, still calm. "I came because I wanted to know what kind of man you turned into. Now, I know." With that, she turned and walked away, her steps graceful, each footstep echoing in the stunned silence. Vincent slumped into his chair, eyes wide, breath shallow. For the first time in years, he had no words. The restaurant returned to life slowly, whispers rising, eyes trailing after Lena as she disappeared behind the kitchen doors. And just like that, one sentence changed everything. Back in the kitchen, Lena leaned against the wall and exhaled shakily. Her fingers still gripped the edge of the countertop as adrenaline surged through her veins. That wasn't how she had planned it. She had rehearsed 100 versions of how she'd finally confront her half-brother, but it had never involved doing it in front of a packed restaurant. Vincent Harlan, billionaire genius, investor, icon, was her brother by blood, though they had never grown up in the same home. He had lived in mansions. She had lived in motels. Their mother, Margaret, had walked out of Vincent's father's penthouse when Lena was only 6 months old. Fed up with the abuse, the shouting, and the belittlement, Vincent had been 12. At the time, he hadn't followed. Not then, not ever. Margaret raised Lena alone, working 2 jobs and barely scraping by. Lena had only ever seen Vincent on magazine covers and television interviews until 2 weeks ago, when she recognized his name on a reservation. She hadn't planned to say anything, but then he yelled, like their mother described, with that same venom, that same need to dominate, and something inside her snapped at the front of the restaurant. Vincent remained frozen for several minutes, his glass untouched. People whispered around him, but no one dared speak directly to him. Finally, he stood, straightened his jacket, and walked toward the bar. His assistant trailed behind him nervously, whispering, "Mr. Harlan, should I cancel your next meeting?" "No," Vincent muttered. "Clear the whole week." The assistant blinked. "The whole," I said. "Clear it." He approached the manager, a nervous man who glanced between Vincent and the kitchen. "I need to speak to the waitress," Vincent said. The manager hesitated. Sir, I don't think she please. Vincent's voice cracked. It wasn't a demand this time. That one word please did something to the room. Everyone noticed, in the staff lounge. Lena was gathering her things, expecting to be fired. She didn't care. She'd said what she came to say. The door creaked open. The manager stepped in. "You've got a visitor," he said gently. "If you want to talk to him." She didn't answer right away. Then finally, she nodded. On the back patio they stood facing each other beneath the gray sky. "I didn't know," Vincent said quietly. "I mean, I knew Mom had a kid, but I thought she, moved on. I thought." She cut me off. Lena crossed her arms. "She tried writing you, calling. Your father made sure none of it got through." Vincent closed his eyes. "He told me she abandoned us, that she didn't want me anymore. She cried every birthday. You missed every holiday. She only stopped when cancer took her 2 years ago." The words hit him like a slap. "I'm sorry," he whispered, "for yelling, for everything." Lena shrugged. "You were never yelling at me. You were yelling at her. And now you don't get to anymore." Vincent looked down, ashamed. "I don't expect anything from you," Lena said. "I just wanted you to know she existed. That I exist." She turned to leave, but Vincent stepped forward. "Wait. Let me try to fix this. Not just with money. Let me earn a second chance. I've got more resources than time. Let me at least give you something to build on." Lena paused. Her silence was long, heavy. Then she gave a single nod. "One chance. Not for me, for her." 2 months later, a brand new scholarship fund appeared at a local university in Margaret Whitman's name, fully funded by the Harlan Foundation. Lena no longer worked at Lit. She was running a small community cafe across town, coned with a silent partner no one had ever seen. And every Sunday, just before closing, that silent partner came by with 2 coffees. They never talked about the past, but they were building something new. One sentence had frozen a restaurant, but it also thawed a heart, and maybe started a family.